Welcome to the Administrator Series for Causeway. In this video, we'll be discussing how to add a new workgroup. As usual, the first thing you need to do is to enter the admin panel through this button right up here, labeled Admin. Once in the Administrators panel, you click on the tab for Workgroups. In the Actions the Actions menu on the left-hand navigation panel, click Add Workgroup. Most of the information in the panel set up here is pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. There are a couple of small things that may be useful to know. The first is, well, you can put a quite long name into the name field. Be very careful because very long names may not display correctly when you go into the workgroup. This can, of course, be edited later if you find it cumbersome. The next field, the short name, is important in that you cannot have any spaces or punctuation. You can use underscores. We highly recommend that, as a matter of fact. The name should be kept as short as possible because it also becomes the email address. So if we put in, for example, something like this, where it says admin workgroup, then you'll notice that when this is filled in, it becomes the mailing list for the group. It sets up the chairman email address, the administrator email address, etc. So that's a very, very important field, and you will want to keep it as short as possible. The description, obviously, you can improvise whatever you want to put in for there. The type of group, whether it's open or restricted to specific types of member levels that can join, pretty self-explanatory here. Hidden ones will be seen only by administrators. Parent group takes care of any nesting, so it's from the pull-down list of existing groups. You can select what group it should nest under. Be very careful with the section about automated membership. Anybody who activates a new account will be added to this work group if you click the automated membership. That's why the default is to restrict it to company type. If you want everyone to be able to join, but you're not automatically putting them into it, you would select restrict member type, but then select all of the members. This is the default in the add work group page. I skipped over one here, the default role. Again, this one is because it's almost always left as the default. Most people are added as the workgroup member when they join, if they're added automatically to the group. So you would go in later and set somebody as the chairman. We'll discuss that in another video. We've already mentioned briefly the discussion module settings here and what the email addresses are. Whether or not the email requires moderation or not, and what level of moderation. So if something is set so that the entire public can see it, you'll notice that the moderation goes away. It's only if it has any restriction as to who can see it then that the moderation choice is off. If you have it, for example, that only workgroup members can use the email link and send to the group, then what happens if someone not in the group tries to send? Two choices. One, it's moderated, which means the chairman will be alerted that there's someone unapproved trying to send a message to the group, and they can moderate it. Or you can turn it off, and messages sent from outside the group will be automatically rejected and discarded. This is why we'll have the default set to on. The email settings for new users. This is before they've activated their account. If you've accepted them, they'll get an email So this default is almost always set to send to the user even before they activate their account. However, you can set it to the other and just allow them to send mail before they activate. The default value for notifying mail list checkbox on multiple functions in the workgroup, including adding a new document to the documents module or adding an event to the calendar. One of the last questions at the bottom of those pages, which we'll discuss in other videos, will be, do you want to send a notice to the group that this has been added to your workgroup module? The default is set here, whether we have this checked so that it automatically will take you to the email page so you can send a message to your group or not. This may change from group to group, so contact the leader of the group and find out how they want to have this. Generally recommended to check it by default, because if it's checked and they decide they don't want to, they can exit without sending the email without losing their new item. Sending an iCal, this is the default of when you're creating a new calendar event. If when it sends out the notice, it also attaches an iCal, this is recommended to be left checked by default. These are all the modules that are available when a new work group is set up. Most of the time you'll leave them all turned on. Occasionally a group will say we have no use for having a voting module, and we don't want the tasks module or things of that sort. It's rare that you will want to remove the documents. You certainly do not want to remove the discussions or the calendar. Those are very, very key to the functioning of work groups. Once you've completed all of these items on the Add Work Group page, you click Create, and the work group will be added to the list of groups in the list of work groups. That's it. That's how you create a new work group. Thank you for watching.